Disclaimer. Welcome to Two Cops, One Donut podcast. The views and opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Two Cops, One Donut, its host, or affiliates. The podcast is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. We do not endorse any guests' opinions or actions discussed during the show. Any content provided by guests is of their own volition, and listeners are encouraged to form their own opinions. Furthermore, some content is graphic and has harsh language. Viewer discretion advised and is intended for mature audiences. Two Cops, One Donut and its host do not accept any liability for statements or actions taken by guests. Thank you for listening. All right, welcome back. Two Cops, One Donut. I'm your host, Eric Levine. With me, the detective Matt Thornton and former Deputy Banning Sweatland. What's up, guys?
What up? What up?
What's up, brother?
Got some disappointing news. Our guest did not make it today. Again. Last week, he kept us up to date, let us know what was going on, and he wasn't going to be able to make it. He tried to make it up until about the last hour. And today, the last I heard from him was around noon, and I have not heard from him since, and I've been trying to get a hold of him. So we got ghosted again. So if you guys want to tune off, I completely understand. I apologize. However, the show's going to go on. I've already pulled up some videos. I got everything going, and we got stuff we can talk about, right?
Plan.
We've always got shit we can talk about. So, we can talk about Matt and what he's got going on now that he's, about to retire. What's that like?
Oh my gosh. Stressful. My wife's on me about the financial. What are we going to do? This and that.
Right. You're like, babe, I'm a podcaster. I'm good.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, Two Cops, One Donut is going to make us millions, babe.
Yeah. We got this. Craig said he canceled again. Yep, he canceled again. I can tell you guys this. I'm not asking him again. So, it is what it is. I'm not going to judge. Everybody's got shit that happens. Could it happen 2 weeks in a row? Yes, it could. But if he wants to make that up, he's going to have to let me know this time because I don't chase waterfalls.
Yep.
TLC taught me, don't go chasing waterfalls.
You put that song in my head tonight, man. We're fighting.
Just stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. That's what you do, guys.
It's there.
Going to the comments, I see Mr. Billfold's on there. He said, "Tune off, stop smoking crack."
Mr. Billfold, my guy.
Right. I actually have one of his videos queued up that he sent in. He wanted us to do a breakdown on. So we will throw that out there. Banning, you said you wanted to take a moment out for today because you had some news.
Yeah, it looks like I'm glitchy again. Am I glitchy again?
You're glitchy.
Okay.
We can hear you though.
Okay. I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna disappear and reset this router for the third time and come back in. Okay. But really quickly, day before yesterday, there was a Kansas highway patrolman, and I believe you'll have to double check me on Google and look it up. But I believe 3 deputies, 13 to 16 miles of south of Topeka, Kansas, were shot when responding to a domestic family violence. Houston Gas, buddy that we've had on the show several times, who was also shot on a domestic violence 10 years ago, reached out to me and said, "Hey, let's try to make some connections up there," because he obviously wants to help one of these officers that was shot in the face and is recovering. So if anybody's got any connections in the Topeka, Kansas, or south of there, can get in touch with Eric or I on LinkedIn. However, would love to be able to reach out and help these folks out the best that we can. With that in mind, thank you for listening to that. I'm going to get off of this because my face is frozen, and I'm going to try to come back better.
All right, brother. And I just got a text from our guest. He's on his way.
Oh, cool.
So there we go. While we're waiting, I want to make sure, because I already teased about Mr. Billfold's video, and he's my guy. So I want to make sure we take care of him. And let's watch his video that he wanted us to do a little breakdown. Oh, it's 15 fucking minutes though. Okay. We'll get through as much as we can until Banning and our guest arrive. So we're going to biggie size. You can see that, right, man? Yeah.
Yep.
You should be. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's just start with this video. Looks kind of like it's a First Amendment auditor. So.
Hello everyone, where we go over your rights and how to exercise them when dealing with public officials, especially law enforcement. Now watch how these police officers lied to this man about every law in order to violate rights, but got completely destroyed without a single word being said. But first, remember to like the video and leave a comment with your thoughts to help us reach more people, to make them aware of their rights and help end police misconduct.
I want to give credit to whoever this guy is.
I've heard his videos before.
Oh, People's Court Audit. People's Court Audit.
Yep. He's
yeah.
I recognize his voice.
I recognize the accent. I just he's not one that I regularly check, but I have seen his stuff. So
What's going on, bro, man?
Now, y'all can say what you want, but this position right here, if you ever wear an outer vest carrier, is so fucking comfortable. People want to talk shit that cops saying like this to be douchey or whatever. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, it is. I put my hands in. I put my whole hand in there,
and
I just let my weight, the weight hold because it kind of presses because my hands get cold easy. So
yeah, he just pulled from that snow.
Yeah.
I've never done that because my arms don't reach that like that.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. You got them little T-Rex out.
Yeah, I know. They don't reach like this.
Oh,
I'm also
shit.
trying to do that.
That's funny. All right, let's keep going.
How are you doing today? I'm Officer Hoffman, Jefferson City Police Department. You know why I'm contacting you?
Oh, he's going silent
Yeah, we
style.
can play a silent game, man. I'm trying to contact you. You have every right to record me. I want you to record me. My camera's recording too. So the thing is, man.
Oh, we're not gonna get through it at all because our guest Bruce is on. Let's see here. Let's stop sharing. Let's get Bruce. Oh, Bruce is in the car. Look it. What's up, Bruce?
I'm sorry. I took a few minutes too long.
You're okay. I was talking shit. I goes, he ghosted me, boys.
No. I apologize. I would never do that.
He was crying, Bruce. We had to hold his head up. He was crying like he cried real tears.
I think it's important, man. It's really, really important that, guys like us come together, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from all walks of life, because the reality is we all get a bad rap, whether we're on one side or the other side. We oftentimes don't sit and have these real conversations, right? Yeah. And that's what allows us to connect, to recognize and acknowledge the humanity in each of us, from different walks of life, from different perspectives. Sometimes it's really just about a conversation to realize that we all really want the same things in life.
Yep.
And this is so important to me, to be here with you all, man, and this is not just a one-time thing. I'm hoping that after this we can continue to communicate and see how we can, share your voice with the world as well as my voice, and how we can just try to create a better environment for both of us.
Love it.
Amen. I love that, man.
Love it, brother. So I'll introduce myself. We've talked on the text back and forth on the phone, but I am Eric Levine. I am a current police officer. I'm a sergeant. We'll just say in North Texas, and been in policing. In May, it'll be 20 years. I'm also in the Air Force. I'm a cop in the Air Force. Hence the name of the show, Two Cops, One Donut. I am both a military cop and a municipal cop. So you have that. And then, Matt, I'll let you introduce yourself, sir.
I'm Matt Thornton. I'm a cop right outside of Chicago. Been here 21 years, and I also run a couple of nonprofits, and that's my actual job that I consider. So,
a couple of nonprofits.
Yeah, a couple of them, man. We have a blast with them for the kids in my city. We bring them in and just mentor them and take care of them, and show them the best way.
That's beautiful, man.
Then I'll let Banning. I'll let Banning introduce himself, but he's having some connection issues, so he's been bouncing in and out. But Banning, we've got Bruce on. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hey, Bruce, first of all, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Sorry about my slow. I'm out in the way backwoods, so I got some slow internet here. Again, thank you for coming on. Name's Banning Sweatland, 21-year law enforcement officer, 4 years in the Marine Corps before that. I've done everything under the roof within law enforcement, and that's why I've joined with Eric to try to bring the community and law enforcement together to see if we can find some common ground. But enough about me, man. This show is about you, and I'm just all inspired to be a part of it.
So,
Thank you, brother, and I'm honored to be here to share with you all.
Thank you.
Bruce, one of the things that helps us connect with the community and what we try to do on this show is we have it's live stream for a reason. All of these people that are on the chat right now, they are very much a part of what we do, why we do, and they will hold our feet to the fire like nobody else, because they want policing to get better as well. So do we. And so you'll see comments popping up on the bottom, like Mr. Billfold, one of our regulars, he said, "Don't drive and stream, Bruce. You might take another ride."
Oh no, I'm not driving.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Leave it to
that.
Mr. Bill Ford.
Yeah. Yeah. He said, "Bruce, I watched you on JRE. You are a better man than I for holding up against that kind of injustice." So, and not everybody here knows your story. So, Bruce, I know you've told your story a million times. I'm not asking you to give the full in-depth version, because what I want to get to tonight is where the system failed you, who continued to fail you, if they did, when you got inside, and how the fuck do we start fixing it? That's what I want to know, because our job, what we can do as law enforcement, is we can take your story and we can be like, you know what? Here's where we started seeing some of the screw ups happen and how we can prevent that from happening again. I can't help what happened to you. It breaks my heart what happened to you. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted you on here. But I want those that may not know your story, I want you to tell that. And then once you get done telling that, then we'll start asking you some questions along the way to start, getting to the root of the real issues that we all have a hand in helping fix.
Yes.
So
Yes.
The floor is yours, sir.
Well, my name is Bruce Bryan. I grew up in New York City. For the early part of my life, I grew up in the Lower East Side, Manhattan. And then, which is where I am now, I'm in Manhattan. I'm in Midtown, actually, at a small event that we had, a powwow for stage plays and artists that are involved in the arts, whether it's writing or acting. And with my family in 78 moved from Manhattan to Queens. My father, he hailed from Antigua, West Indies, where all of my siblings are from. My mother's from Dominica. My father actually was working in the hotel business in Antigua, and someone saw him and his work ethic and decided that they wanted to offer him an opportunity to come to America. So he came here in 68 and had me in 69. And for 8 years, we lived on the Lower East Side. After that, Lower East Side was tough, but there was a lot of love in the house. So we didn't really understand what poverty was, because we had each other. 2-bedroom apartment, 6 kids, both parents. It was tough, but we had each other. And like I said, as a young person, you don't really understand poverty. You just understand love. You understand the love and support that you have at home.
Yeah.
So in 78, when we moved to Queens, it was the onslaught of the crack era. 78, 79, then like by the time I became 12, 13 years old, crack started coming into the community. And then you started seeing, street corners loaded with crack dealers, marijuana dealers, and the whole drug scene started to really develop and become more of an open market. I guess prior to that, and maybe in the 60s and 70s, I had never seen it in the 70s when I was coming up in the Lower East Side. Not to that degree. I mean, you saw people hanging out. You saw guys getting hot. When I moved to Queens, you saw it was ubiquitous. It was everywhere. And so you have these influences that kind of pull you in the wrong direction. So during the course of this age, you start seeing younger kids having things that you didn't have, and you kind of gravitated and wanted some of that stuff. So I took to the streets. Um, Thus, yeah, I've been arrested as a kid. I've been in juvenile systems as a kid, And all of this is what made it easier for me to be arrested and wrongfully convicted because I already had, I already had the streets in me at some point at 13, 14 years old. You were already outside and hanging out. That's no justification, but you just understand that when you're outside and you're involved in the streets or you're hanging out as a young kid, you become a little bit more susceptible to being falsely accused and arrested for a crime. So fast forward to the mid '80s, that was the crack boom, and as you all know from Texas, I'm sure Dallas and Houston, there was I'm sure they had drug markets that were heavy out there as well as in Austin, Texas, and you saw it so much in New York City, especially in Queens. Queens was kind of known for not just having individual drug dealers. Queens was more known for like drug crews, what they would say are gangs now. Back then they called them crews. So you would see, 20-man crews and everybody's hustling in housing projects and different things like that, or hustling on blocks. So it became a big, big thing, right? It became huge in Queens. And I think TNT, the Tactical Narcotics Team, was created around 1988, around that time, maybe a little bit before then. After the death of Edward Byrne, which was a young rookie cop that was essentially lost his life during the drug epidemic in Queens. Um, so around that time, it started getting really crazy, and then you started seeing entire blocks being arrested and being swept by law enforcement. So if you were buying a bag of marijuana and TNT was doing a sweep during that time, everybody went to jail, including the lady in the supermarket if she looked like she was holding a joint. That's just how it was in New York City. I don't know how it was in other states, but in New York City, particularly in Queens, um, that's exactly how it was. This would happen on a daily basis. So in 1993, it was still a lot of crack, still cocaine, a lot of heroin, is when a young person was killed by a stray bullet, and I was subsequently charged for a murder that I didn't commit because they made it seem like it was a drug crew. And one of the major flaws with my case was, was my attorney. I had an attorney that had been, and this is going to sound crazy. I had an attorney by the name of Reginald Tao, and I'll say his name, who had been slashed by his previous client. He was a court-appointed attorney, and he had been slashed in his face by a previous client that he represented. And as a result of that, he was receiving psychiatric treatment. I was the very next client that he had,
Oh,
the very next client, and he was suffering from post-traumatic stress. He admitted at a hearing in which he sued New York City. He sued the city because he was actually slashed while at work, while in what we call the bullpens. I don't know if you call them that in Texas, but the bullpens are like the court pens where everybody's going to court. And so in those back cells where you may be able to see your attorney for some little bit of privacy before you go into the courtroom, he went to see a client back there, and the client couldn't get rid of him through the courts because he kept asking to get rid of him. So he felt the best way to get rid of him, I assume, was to slash him, and it was attack him and slash him. So he was slashed and attacked. As a result of that, he sued the city, but he had what they call a 50HC hearing. And at the 50HC hearing, he openly said, I cannot relate to clients in the same way. And it's difficult for me I'm unable to create a defense because I'm unable to communicate adequately with my clients because of the PTSD. I guess he felt fearful of that incident, shocked him. No one expects to be an attorney. You go to see a client and they attack you and slash you. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I happened to be his next guy, and that threw everything for a loop because this guy he literally wouldn't come and see me. He wouldn't communicate with me. He didn't have I think I'm the only guy in New York that had a homicide that didn't have an investigator. right?
Okay.
I mean, everybody that's charged with a homicide, your lawyer has an investigator. This guy
Yeah.
had no investigator. It's like he was too in shock to actually build the defense and sit and communicate with me. Never came to see me, never sat down and went over the case thoroughly. He would, for 13 months, I'm on Rikers, the first 13 months on Rikers Island, which was pure hell at the time. It was the onslaught, it was the beginning of the gangs really becoming very popular. The Latin Kings, the Bloods, the Crips becoming really popular on Rikers Island. And Rikers Island is the biggest penal colony probably in the state. It had over 20,000 people there. And violence was at an all-time high. And for 13 months, I didn't see a judge. And this guy wouldn't tell me anything.
So you stuck in there for 13 months.
Oh, I was stuck there for 30 months. But for the first 13, I couldn't see a lawyer.
Wow.
I literally couldn't see. He would come to the bullpen and say, "You're not seeing a judge today. I'll talk to you some other time." I would say, "Listen, I need to talk to you about my case." And he would walk away and say, "Well, we'll talk some other time." It didn't register in my mind that the slash on his face was similar to the one that I wound up receiving years later in prison, or similar to the ones that you see a lot of guys on Rikers Island with. It didn't register to me. The farthest thing from my mind is that my attorney was slashed, right? You think that happens only to guys in jail. I see the long scar because he maybe has received about 80 stitches. So I'm looking at him and I'm like, I'm paying the scar no mind, and it's really about how you're going to communicate with me, how you're going to help me get around this case, how you're going to contact my girlfriend at the time, how you're going to contact the cab driver, how you're going to contact the necessary people, how you're going to get the logbook from the cab stand, the different things that would support my case. And this guy didn't do anything. He didn't do anything for 30 months until I was subsequently convicted of murder and sentenced to 37 and a half to life.
Damn.
So one of the things I learned, it was that I couldn't change my circumstances right away. So I had to change myself. And that began my journey of personal development and self-development and introspection and digging deep into trying to find out why and how I got into this place to begin with.
Yeah.
Damn. So that was the beginning of my journey.
Okay.
And because the journey for me was more internal than external.
Gotcha.
More internal, because once you realize that you can't change your environment, you realize that you have to change yourself.
So you get in, you get convicted, and you start doing the self-improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing is getting educated enough to help on your own defense?
Yes, to help on my own defense, absolutely, because nobody else is going to help me.
Right. This is
Absolutely
interesting,
no
by
one.
the way. I feel like we're in the big city. What's going on?
I mean, the law library.
Don't let me go.
The law library was important to me.
I need an arm.
Okay. I'm helping my old timer get in the car.
Oh, no worries. This
Yes.
this is gold, baby. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, the shoelaces are undone, so I just want
Yeah.
to be careful here.
So I'm just helping my old timer get in.
Okay.
No, don't close it yet, because I got to put the wheelchair in for him.
Do you want to
get
handle
in the
your
front.
stuff and jump back on?
No, you can stay. You can
Okay,
stay. I'm just putting him in the car.
okay.
My girl's going to drive. Come on, I'm going to put you in the front.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love it too.
This is live and in person for real.
I know. I love it. I'm going to the comments. One of the biggest issues in the system is the public defender's office, the lack of budget they have, and the size of caseloads the attorneys have.
Can you get past that water?
I can't get in
with the water there?
No, it's just
So
you're in
come
the
a little
way.
faster. She's going to bring it closer, because she said we don't want the water to touch you.
No.
So
She said don't worry about the
Okay,
water.
do you want to hand me the computer for a second? You can help him. He can't get it
Yes.
by himself. The shoelaces are undone.
this is awesome. I love it.
You got it?
Who's holding us, ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am,
Oh,
you
hi,
can
it's
be on
Allison.
camera.
Oh, it's Allison Flom. Hi,
What's up, lady?
how's it going?
I'm good. How
Good.
you doing?
I'm good. I don't know the context, but I can tell it's iconic. If Bruce Bryan's
It's
there, I can tell it's good.
we're having a good time. We're hearing Bruce's story, and you are live to hundreds of thousands of people right now.
Oh, that is good to know.
I mean,
Good thing
it
I
would
didn't
be
say anything
hundreds of thousands of
crazy.
people if it would be hundreds of thousands if we were Joe Rogan, but we're not Joe Rogan. So you got tens of 20.
Incredible. Well, I'm sure Bruce. Oh, please don't close your finger in there. I don't know if Bruce told you he's the best dressed person in the entire world. Full
Is
stop.
he?
No one has better fashion.
So why
And
should
he was
start
actually
hitting?
his nickname in prison was actually Fashion. I don't know if that's a secret. I'm telling hundreds of thousands of people.
Oh, fashion, huh?
Yes.
He always
Dang.
has a full outfit. He's always rocking a fit
Okay. All right.
to the function.
That could be a
In the
dangerous
wheelchair
game
in
in
the
prison
car.
in Texas, anyway.
Oh, we really are live streaming.
We
Yeah.
are so live
The way
streaming.
you did not tell me this, Bruce.
So what is your function out there, ma'am?
What is my function at the function? I'm a friend of Bruce.
Okay.
I teach art and self-care workshops with incarcerated women, and so I'm very passionate about human rights for the incarcerated. And Bruce is just, as you probably have already learned, kind of a stunning example of grace.
Lovely.
For good. Am I going
Sounds
all
like
in?
she needs to be our next guest.
She needs to be.
Yeah. I love it.
You hear that, Allison? Says it sounds like you need to be the next guest.
I had a lot to say.
She's like,
Yes. I got a lot to say. I'm down. So we had a pretty good question here from one of our guys. It said, but are we supposed to just go into cuffs willingly and take a ride and hope that we get justice? Would Bruce have been right to fight the cops who wrongfully arrested him?
absolutely not, because they shoot up here in New York City. So when unless you want to lose your life, wherever there's life, there's hope. So, especially when you know deep inside that you're actually innocent.
Yeah.
In your mind, you're processing and saying that I'll be out of here shortly.
Yeah.
You know it was going to take 29 calendars later, but you all in your mind is I'll be out of here. So why would I physically fight the cops when I know that there's always a potential to lose my life in that fight?
Yeah. Jeff Parrish said, Bruce, love you, loving on your fam and helping them. So you're getting some love.
Yeah, that's as authentic as it gets.
Yeah. If there's what was it? If there's life, there's hope.
Wherever there's life, there's hope.
I like that.
He has a quote for every possible situation. He's got a quote.
That's true. Right there. Yeah, Bruce has a quote for
I'm stealing that one, Bruce.
I was gonna say, I think we're gonna use that one. I like that. Where there's life, there's hope.
What were you saying to me on the phone this morning? You just kept saying punctuality is presumed this morning.
Punctuality is
what does that
presumed.
mean, my guy?
Yes.
Bestowed that upon him.
Oh, that was an Alan original.
I like it. Yep. Yeah. Andy Fletcher said the question isn't whether it's right or whether it's smart, but is it right?
I think there's no perfect system, right? Of course, we can do better, but when you learn, like when you get a little more perspective, is when you begin to travel to different systems, right?
Yeah.
So I go to Kenya and Uganda, and I see 175 people in the cell that oftentimes don't see lawyers for sometimes a decade. So, you say, well, our system is bad, but my God, what kind of system is this?
Yeah.
Right, which is a throwback to British colonialism in Kenya. You still see prisons like Committee where the Mau Mau's were hung, and you see people there that are sentenced to death for stealing a cell phone or for stealing a mango off of a tree, and because they use a knife to cut the vine, it's considered to be an armed robbery. And so
Oh,
you see young women sentenced to death for things like that. You begin to gain perspective and say, well, I was in the cell by myself for 29 years. Um, Not 170 people, not 150 people. You know, it's a huge difference. So I still like to say things can be a lot worse,
yeah.
right? They could be a lot worse. Um,
Would you consider yourself an optimistic person?
Absolutely.
More than that.
Sounds like you and
I'm a
I
seven.
are going to get along famously because I am optimistic to my own detriment. So I get a lot of shit from our followers because they think I've got the rose-colored glasses about fixing police work. Where I'm just like, look, somebody's got to try. If I'm not doing it, who's going to do it? So
Exactly.
that's where this little coalition of cops that you see on here. This is our goal. It
And
is not going to.
I think if you have to be able to reimagine what it can be,
Yeah.
right? Um, and again, there's no perfect system, but it can always be better. We can always do more to make it better. Because as I say, if you want more, you got to be more. So if
Right.
we become more
Maybe
to
that.
the system and to the people, um, there's always the potential to change and make things better.
Yes.
Alan,
Agreed.
you wanted to say something?
No, I just want to write down all your quotes.
Oh,
Love it. And
Bruce, I had a question.
yes.
How long till you said 30 months and then you got sentenced? How long
Yeah,
till you
Rikers Island keep you on there forever, man.
man, how long till you were finally able to like be heard, like tell somebody like a courtroom or somebody like about the tragedy.
I didn't see a judge till after about 14 months. So I would
Man.
wake up at least once, maybe sometimes twice a month, 4:30 in the morning, get ready for court, because that's what time the bus come get you on Rikers Island for court.
Mm.
4:35 in the morning, you sit in the bullpens, and they give you what they call bullpen therapy for the next 10 hours. You're eating a bologna and cheese sandwich if you decide if you can actually consume that, right? Or you are eating a peanut butter and jelly with some really hard, thick peanut butter in there too. Um, and you waiting to see a judge, and then the judge 9 times out of 10 says, you got adjourned, but you don't go before the judge. Your lawyer just says in the back bullpen, you got adjourned. I'll see you next week. That's the most conversation I would receive from my attorney.
You had kind of touched on it earlier that you had went to Uganda and you were looking at the inmates and stuff like that over there. And that's a program, right? Justice Defenders.
Justice Defenders is a nonprofit organization that brings higher legal education and training to incarcerated men and women in 22 prisons in Kenya and Uganda,
I've got their
because they don't have access to public defenders like that unless they have a death penalty case, as we do here in the United States.
Okay. I've got their website pulled up right now just so people can check them out. It's justice-defenders.org.
Yes.
And I'm sharing the webpage right now.
And you know what's fascinating is that they become very good legal advocates, paralegals, and earning their law degrees through the University of London. Not only are they good, but they're helping the officers learn with them side by side.
Oh, really?
And that's the model yes. So
That's
the
beautiful.
officers and the incarcerated people are provided with free legal education. And they have one requirement: to help free someone else inside the prison.
Yeah.
So you got correction officers in these prisons that file motions and represent some of the very same people that they supervise.
Oh, man.
And there's no organization on the planet that's doing that other than
Fuck no,
Justice.
there's not. I never heard anything like that.
But it's a great way for you to begin to see the humanity in those that are incarcerated and to work side by side with them, right?
Yeah.
So that allows you to have some level of solidarity with the officers and the incarcerated people. So now you're building a community because you see violence dissipate. Literally, if I got an officer that's helping me earn my freedom, that's helping me understand the law, I don't have an issue with him. That becomes my
Yeah,
colleague.
that's your guy.
That becomes my friend. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Let another inmate try to fuck with him.
exactly.
Yeah.
And when you go inside these prisons over there, it's completely different. It's not an adversarial relationship between the officers and the incarcerated people for several reasons. One is because of the legal training, but also you got to imagine that many of them are probably from the same tribes, so they all look the same, right?
Right.
When you, I saw one, I saw one Asian, a lady, one Chinese lady in the entire prison called Langata, which is the women's prison that has about 700 women, 650 to 700 women in there. But they're all African women and they're learning the law, they're studying the law, a group of them, about 25, 30 of them, and they take cases from their peers inside and they're winning appeals and getting them back in court, getting time cuts, getting them home, bringing up mitigating circumstances. Many of them were subject to domestic violence and, decided to respond after crying out for years, and they wind up killing their husbands or killing their spouse,
Yeah.
and they're sentenced to death. When these officers who are lawyers now began representing them, they actually get them time cuts. Some of them get home. It's unbelievable the work that you see being done, and I imagine it's because they're not going to school just to be a lawyer; they're going to school to fight for their life.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. So I'm not just going to study the law; I'm going to eat, sleep, and breathe the law, if that's what it takes for me to get out of here.
Now, I want to get to some of I want to know how the injustices happened, but what I really want to know is what was the battle like for an incarcerated person to try to get up in front of people and say, I've studied the law, now you need to listen to me. How did you get them to listen? Because that's the way that I equate that is when somebody gets on the internet and they're like, well, I know the law because I Googled something. Like when you hear it on the internet, you never really quite take it that serious. You're like, where'd you study law? Oh, I studied on the internet.
You mean like Kim Kardashian failing the ball for about the sixth time?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So,
I mean, she probably studies the law, but she doesn't really have to because you're a billionaire. So I study this leisurely. This is like, I do this in pastime. But when you take a guy like me, I'm fighting for my life and for my freedom
yeah.
and to prove my innocence. So my take on it is a little different. But not only that, for me, it was about writing everybody and their mother. So in New York State, you get 5 free legal letters every week. You're allowed to mail 5 letters home. Well, 5 letters that not home, but to a law firm or to a legal entity for free every week. So every week I use my 5 free letters to write law firms, to write lawyers. I wound up writing well over 10,000 letters.
Holy shit.
I would see lawyers on TV and reach out to them for assistance. I would see, read about lawyers in the New York Times or the New York Post or the Daily News. Or sometimes I just get the lawyer's diary and I pick 10 names. And these would be the 10 lawyers that I write for the next 2 weeks.
So when you're writing them, are you giving them legal arguments that you've developed, or are you just telling them your story?
I'm telling them my story with some legal knowledge that I developed, with where I feel my case or my injustice happened, and I'm explaining them to them in legal jargon that they understand.
Okay.
Right.
Damn.
That they can say, well, all right, let me give this guy a shot. And the reality is, a lot of these lawyers are so overwhelmed with cases, particularly public defenders, that they don't give adequate time to a case because they're not, they're human, and it's the reality is when you got 50 cases and you're one person, that's a lot, and you got each person's case is important to them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So everybody's cases is more important to them than it is to anyone else.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
it's
So
heartbreaking to think.
you have to really pound the pavement. You got to really pound the pavement. You got to be persistent. Persistence overcomes resistance, right? Those water
Yeah.
drops, are what carve out things inside of stones, inside of bricks. That persistent and consistent drops of water, you can begin to see a crack. You can begin to make a dent. So persistence overcomes resistance, and you just don't stop.
Yeah.
You got to be relentless in your own advocacy. And the hardest part for a person that's incarcerated is learning how to become their own advocate. Because most 99% of the people don't know how to do that. And you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
You got to figure out how to advocate for yourself because your voice matters, right? It's just you got to know that first. You have to be the first person to notice that my voice is important,
Yeah. Yep.
and you have to stand on that.
One of the questions from one of our audience members said, Bruce, which organization advocated for your release? I know the system as we know it did not listen to you, regardless of what you had to say. Not everyone gets Innocence Project help.
You're right, because I think the Innocence Project might take 7 years to write you back sometimes. Literally. That's not even an exaggeration because, they represent clients across the country. I got a guy by the name of Law Professor Steve Zeidman, who works at Cooney School of Law. I sent him some work that I had done in prison. And a couple of years later, he wrote me back and asked me, have I ever considered pursuing clemency? Now, at this time, no one has gotten clemency in New York State. So that's not even a thing. Like, I didn't even respond to his letter because it made no sense to me. Like, no one's getting clemency. He saw my work that I sent him years before about work release, and he responded to it and said, I saw your work. I liked it. I held it for years. I've had it sitting in my drawer. I'm getting ready to start a clemency project and start on executive clemency through the governor. Um, and I like your work, and I just, I see some of the work you've been doing in prison, and I want to know if you ever considered pursuing clemency. If so, contact me. I didn't write him back for months. I said to me, hey man, Steve Zeidman is starting to really take clemency cases, and he's talking about coming in there. And I said, yeah, that guy wrote me years ago. And they said, you wrote him back? I said, no, ain't nobody getting clemency, man. They don't give out clemency in New York. When you ever heard of somebody getting a time cut that's convicted for murder, whether you're innocent or guilty, it just doesn't happen like that. So I brushed it off. Then he scheduled an appointment to come inside the prison. And guys were saying, this law professor is coming in. And he's coming in to talk about clemency. And he came in, and I sat in the back, and I still didn't pay him much of mind. But he came in with a bunch of students. And before he left, I walked over to him, and I introduced myself, and I said, you wrote me, I'm Bruce Bryan. And he said, yeah, well, when you're going to write me back? You need to write me back. And I started talking to him, and I introduced him to two guys. One guy had 100 years. Another guy had life without parole. And I decided that I would write him back in that moment, And so I wrote him back. And he took on my case, and he began doing what, this this deep dive into not just my case, but who I was, my family. Where did I come from? How did I end up where I ended up? What was life like for me growing up? Like every single thing. He dotted his I's and he crossed his T's on Bruce Bryan, right? And he really wanted to know who I was. And what he was developing, it covered every aspect of a person he wanted to represent. And he began to see, look, this guy's doing serious work in here, and I believe in his innocence. So his reason for going so deep, one is because you have to, but he admired the work that I was doing life inside of prison. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he admired me, and he liked me as a person. And so we began to bond, and he began to continuously go see my mother, sit with my family, um, go through every program, every certificate that I ever had in prison, every organization that I was a part of, or started while I was in prison, every single thing. Community members that knew me, people that I was working with from prison that I met while I was in prison. Or like a friend of mine, she has an organization that caters to children of incarcerated parents, and I began working with her from the inception of her organization. So he would go to her and say, well, what do you think of him? Tell us about him. My brothers and sisters, tell us about him. The community, the store owners, tell us about this guy. And he developed this elaborate 499-page packet, not just talking about who I was today in comparison to the young guy that may have been involved in the street as a young person. But he began to, he documented my journey for the past, at the time, I had about 25 years in, because it took me 4 or 5 years to actually get executive clemency. Um, so he documented everything I had done in the prison, even going as far as contacting the superintendent, what some people in some states call wardens. What is this guy doing in here? He saw that I had graduated from college twice. I graduated from different programs that were, master's level. Even though I didn't get a master's degree, I got my bachelor's, I got my associates. So he began looking at all of this and everything that I was doing, and he decided that how important it was to humanize me, right, and to let the world see that this, these people that are inside
On a podcast, or just
are better than the worst thing they've ever done. And I think that is what really um, made eventually made my executive clemency package successful, because I had been overlooked since 2018, 2019.
Okay.
He also did a mitigating video on me. So they would interview me on the video for hours inside the prison, interview my mother, my family, the community, all on video, and they would edit it down to less than 10 minutes. Um, so people, it's one thing to hear about a person. It's another to see him on camera, on film,
Right.
speaking and sharing his story. Um, and every year from 2018 until the ending Christmas 2022, I was overlooked. I wasn't denied, but I was overlooked. Right. So that what I mean by that is they would submit 10 guys for executive clemency, and 8 of them would get it, and I wouldn't be one of them. Right. At the time, Governor Cuomo was the governor of New York State, and he had done, before he was pushed out of office, he had released a few dozen people. And each time I was in the race, but I was overlooked.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it wasn't until Christmas 2022 that Governor Kathy Hochul decided to grant me executive clemency. And I was actually in the gym working out. I, I remember the day like it was yesterday. I was in the gym lifting weights, and the officers called me and said, "You got to go see your counselor." I said, "I'm working out. I'm not going to see no counselor now. I don't have, what am I going to see a counselor for?" And he said, "All right." So I continued to work out. He got another call and said, "It's a mandatory. He has to come up now." So the officer came to me and said, "You got to go. Um, I'll let you back in the gym when you finish. But Bryan, you got to go. You got to go straight to the office. You don't even got to go to your cell and change your clothes. Just go straight and see the counselor." we're gonna have an escort waiting there for you up front. So I said, all right. I was a little frustrated because I wanted to use the phone. So I go to my counsel's office and I'm standing up. Her name was Miss Mims, and she says to me, "Have a seat, Mr. Bryan." I said, "What do you call me for?" I said, "I was working out and I wanted to use the phone. I didn't call my family all day, and we don't have access. We don't have gym tonight, so I won't be able to call." And she said, "Mr. Bryan, have a seat." And I said, "Why don't you just tell me what you want me for?" She said, "Mr. Bryan, have a seat." And I sat down, and she turned on her computer. I couldn't see the screen, and she went through her computer, and she began reading the order, and she got to the end that said, "Per Governor Kathy Hochul, Governor of New York State, I have been requested to call you down here and to inform you that you just received executive clemency." I damn near fell out the chair. I almost fell out the chair. Tears came out of nowhere, and I had to really hold my balance and didn't want to leave. And she said, "You can leave now, Mr. Bryan." And I said, "No, no, no. You ain't just gonna tell me that and tell me to walk out of here now. You got to explain to me, like, are you sure? Is this? Are you? Am I? Is it me? You want to be sure that it's you." And I'm like, "Oh my God." I'm thinking in my mind, okay, if this is really me, I'm not gonna tell nobody when I get back to the block. Everybody gonna ask me, "Yo, why they call you out the gym? What's that about?" Because, they call you out the gym and you got to go somewhere. Guys might think you're a snitch. Who is he snitching on? Who is he going to talk to? He's snitching. What they calling him for? So I'm like, in my mind, I'm saying, what the hell am I going? I'm not telling nobody that shit. I got executive clemency and I'm getting ready to walk out the door in a couple months after having a life sentence.
Yeah.
And everybody else around me got life sentences. I'm gonna keep that close to my chest. Maybe down the line I might tell a person, got back to the I got and I said, "Officer, I need to use the phone in the gym." So he said, Go ahead. And I went back down and got on the phone and called my sister and told her, "Whatever you do, don't tell mommy." Why did I do that? That's like impossible, right? That's impossible not to tell my mother that.
Yeah.
So, man, I went back to the cell, man, and I just sat there and guys like, "Yo, what happened, man?" I said, "Nah, it was like a legal call. My lawyer called up. They needed me. I had a legal call. I forgot I had a legal call scheduled, and I had to go up there and talk to my lawyer on the phone, man. And I sat in that cell, didn't go out for the rest of the day, and it was almost like the cell was spinning.
Mhm.
And I sat there and I cried. Then I prayed, cried some more, prayed some more, thank God some more. But I'm nervous because I'm saying, are they going to come back to the cell and say, "That was a mistake, Mr. Bryan. We didn't mean to tell you that."
Right.
That night, I got legal mail that had a seal on it. It had the governor's seal on it, telling me that I was granted executive clemency and I would be going to the earliest parole board. Um, that was like the greatest feeling in the world. The second greatest feeling next to actually walking out the door
Yeah.
4 months
When it
later.
was real.
That was like, man, when it was real.
How long
Yeah.
was that 4 months for you?
That was when it was real, man. Shit, that was the longest 4 months of my life.
I could imagine, man.
That was the
bet.
longest 4 months of my life. Really, the longest time was the last 7 days.
Oh man, I could not imagine.
The last 7 days because you're not sleeping. You're not sleeping, and you're thinking about what am I going to do? What's going to be my first meal? I already know, what I've been yearning for.
Does anybody in the jail?
Being around my
Does
mother,
anybody in the jail
seeing
know
my
yet?
family. They don't find out till when I walk to that parole board months later, and they're like, "Yo, they called you for the board?" I said, "That's what they called me
Yeah.
for." You know what I mean? And it's when you go to the parole board in New York State. I don't know if it's you have to, in order to even be considered to be released, you have to admit guilt and admit remorse. So my lawyer was a little nervous because he was like, um, you always said that you would never admit guilt for something that you didn't do. And I said, and that still stands. And he said, well, what you gonna say when you go in there? I said, I'm gonna tell them, I'm gonna speak my truth, and let them know that I'm prepared to die before I lie on myself and say that I murdered someone. I'm prepared to die in prison. And verbatim is what I told the parole board. They peppered me with question after question after question. The final question was from a female, Miss Commissioner Samuels. I'll never forget it. She said, well, I went through your file, and you've actually been saying this since you've been arrested, the earliest time of your case. She said, well, now, after all these years that you're finally getting an opportunity to be released, how does that make you feel? All this time you've been crying out, and finally now they want to give you a chance to go home. And I got the sense instantly, and I told my girl this a while ago, instantly I got the sense that she wanted to see if I was bitter. Did I tell you that? She wanted to see if I was bitter. You hear me? And so I said, well, um, it's been a long journey. It's been a hard journey. I lost my father in 2017. I had to go see his body with chains around my waist, chains around my ankles, chains around my wrists. Um, I said, I still got my mother. I said, but I managed to not serve time, but to have time serve me. And so therefore, I'm not bitter. I'm better. I'm better than I was. And that was the final answer. And she looked at me and she said, thank you. Good luck, Mr. Bryan.
Damn.
And that was it. Days later, I got the paper in the mail saying, you have been granted release. You're going home, man.
All while maintaining your innocence.
All while maintaining innocence. And
Fuck yeah.
anybody in that's been incarcerated in New York and probably in any state will tell you, if you don't go in there and say, I'm sorry for what I've done, I admit guilt, I admit remorse. In fact, we just watched a documentary called Beyond Beyond the Bars documentary. We just did a screening on it on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And guys in that documentary, I know them all from Sing Sing, which is one of the notorious maximum security prisons in New York State. One of the oldest. It's about 200 years old. And the guys in there were going to the parole board, expressing remorse, saying they're sorry, and they were hit with 2 years. They go back again, they're hit with another 2 years, over and over again. And they're admitting remorse. They're doing what's required of them. I didn't admit remorse or admit any guilt.
Yeah.
And I made it. So I think that for me, it was a blessing from God, but also that I think the governor got a sense that, my prosecutor wound up going to prison. I had a former, and you can look him up, former Queens prosecutor, John Scarpa, Scarpa. John Scarpa is known for misconduct. So he was pushed out the DA's office and became a defense attorney, but he continued in his misconduct, and he was arrested and sentenced to 30 months by the feds for trying to bribe witnesses to say what he wanted them to say. And this is the guy that got me 37 and a half to life.
Damn.
So that's the part of the system that's broken, in that prosecutors, see how easy you pulled it up? In that prosecutors actually have immunity. So a prosecutor can lock up, two cops, one donut, and Bruce Bryan, and lock us up and say we were conspiring on a live stream to commit crime, and lock us up, charge us, and convict us. And 2 years from now, they say, man, that prosecutor lied. He set them guys up. guess what? We get released, but nothing happens to him. Nothing happens to him. And it happens in the prosecutorial level, and it happens with bad cops,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? When you look at, I don't know if you're familiar, but there's one cop. Just one example I like to give you from out, and there are many, but the one example I like to give you is Louis Scarcella. Are you familiar with that name?
I
Louis
am.
Scar. You are?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember
Louis
why.
Scarcella was one of the top homicide detectives in Brooklyn.
Yeah, didn't he have like 27 convictions that they think were?
He already 27 convictions were already overturned,
Yeah,
but
that's what it was. 27 were overturned, but he's got a slew more.
about 350 he was responsible for.
Was Derek
Right, and
Hamilton one of his cases?
Derek Hamilton absolutely was one of his cases.
Yes, that's why I know who he is. I interviewed Derek.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, and it's amazing because one officer single-handedly sent us back into slavery. He was responsible for over 400 years of wrongful incarceration. One cop,
Yeah.
not two, one.
So in your case, was it corrupt police? Was it corrupt prosecution? What was it that where did we start fucking up so we can start fixing it?
I had the whole trifecta, right? Stephen Farinello from the 103rd precinct. Shell cases disappeared from the crime scene, number one. But then I had an attorney who, who absolutely did nothing to
Right.
defend me. I had a public defender, Reginald Town, who did absolutely nothing. And it's why I make it my business to say his name, right, when
Yeah.
I'm interviewed, because of the horrific job that he did in representing me, and knowing that he was seeing a psychiatrist while he was right. He was seeing a psychiatrist here in Manhattan, Dr. Henry McCurtis, while he was representing me. And then I had John Scarpa as the DA.
Wow.
And John Scarpa, he's responsible for People versus Nathan May. That conviction was overturned. People versus Gary Stedman. That conviction was overturned for prosecutorial misconduct and for withholding Brady material, which is exculpatory evidence, right? Or in some cases, he gives a secret deal to someone who may be a substance abuse user in exchange for their testimony against me, which is very common. It's common practice for John Scarpa. So, I mean, when you talk about qualified immunity for a prosecutor and them, the ability to have so much power, right? Think of it like this. A public defender may get $50, $75 an hour. A prosecutor essentially has more power than the judge. They represent the people,
Yeah.
right? They have support from the people and can almost do and say almost anything. So if prosecutors were held accountable for deliberate misconduct, I think it would make a
Oh my God.
difference, right? Do you think John Scarpa ever thought that he would get caught? Right? You think that was the first time he did it when he got 30 months?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Do you know how many lawsuits he has against him right now? At least 10.
And I bet the justification in his own head was they're criminals, so it doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the same way Louis Scarcella felt. Oh, they criminals, they're in the
Yeah.
streets anyway.
Which is
And
fucked up. Because when the streets raise you,
it is.
that I mean, I've talked to I know a million people like that where they didn't have the best guy. Okay, so let me ask you this, Brian, Bruce. Looking back in your 12, 13, 14 years old, what would have helped you stay out of street life?
I think for me, beginning to understand poverty, and also seeing the influences that were around us at the time in Queens from the streets had a huge impact, right? And again, I really believe that, if you get caught for selling marijuana, then guess what? Like they say, marijuana is a gateway drug. That's like a gateway for the system to say, okay, we can snatch him up and throw him away because he's
That's
involved.
a smart perspective. Yeah, it's not a gateway drug for you. It's a gateway to get put in the system.
It's a gateway to get
Yeah.
put in the
Marijuana's been the catalyst that ruined so many lives, uncountable amount of lives.
Yeah.
Just because
Yeah.
it's a simple arrest and it's a way to go after people.
Yep. When we all know that what I'm drinking right here is probably the single-handedly the most biggest reason for people to do some demonic shit. Not weed.
Yeah. And the marijuana arrest is so disproportionate in certain communities, and it's your point exactly. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yep.
But I also think that as a young person, I got 6 siblings. At the time, I had 5 siblings. I think for me, I knew better than the streets because I had my mother and my father there, right? So I watched my mother and father go to work. I never watched them drink. I never watched them smoke. They never did any of that. So there's a level of responsibility that I take even as a teenager for making bad choices as well, and being and allowing myself to be influenced by the streets when I had a better example in front of me. So I don't absolve myself of the responsibility that I take in the poor choices that I made. But I don't think that makes it okay to be arrested and wrongfully charged.
No,
never.
Not at all. Whatever things you did, you paid for it, and then some. A lot.
Yeah.
Bruce, but when you were, I was going to ask you a question. When you were young coming up, what was your perception of the police in your neighborhood?
Well, first, when I was in the Lower East Side, I didn't really have a bad relationship with cops. I remember seeing cops 6, 7, 8 years old. Going, my mother taking me to the bank because our neighborhood was drug infested. We lived on the East Side, Lower East Side, Manhattan, East 10th Street, in the 70s. But you saw the same cops in those neighborhoods that you saw them every day. You saw them every day, so they kind of knew who you were. They knew my father when my father bought a white Lincoln Continental in the 70s, and some new cops thought he was a pimp, right? And cops from the neighborhood that knew he wasn't out, but that he was a hardworking man, would kind of be like, "Oh no, that's such and such," right? So I think having that relationship or having that understanding and knowing who each other's families were. Now live in the inner cities, they bring officers from way out in Long Island to police the inner cities. So there's no sense of community there. Like they don't know each other, right? They've never seen each other before, right? It's like you take a rookie cop that comes from the suburbs and you put him in some of the worst housing projects in New York City to police. That's a recipe for disaster.
Oh my gosh, heck yeah! I've been screaming that for years.
It's a recipe for disaster. One or two things are going to happen. One is he's going to create a situation where he responds impulsively out of fear, right? Because he's not used to this environment. Or the community may look at him and just completely shun him because no one knows him. The one thing that builds trust is some level of consistency. So if you see the same person consistently and you develop some type of relationship, even if it's a head nod, if there have been offices where you see in the community all the time, it's at least a head nod and you begin to speak because I always see you here, right? But if you bring a guy from Long Island to police 40 projects that are Queensbridge housing projects, one of the biggest housing projects in New York City, there's something bad that's bound to happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can't expect him to just understand and know his environment, an environment that he's never been in, and you can't expect the people in that environment to have a relationship with him, or to even want to confide in him and say, "Yo, look, man, this is going on, man. We trying to clean up the community. Let's work together." They don't know him. They've never
Yeah.
seen him before.
Yeah. What was your experience like with the corrections officers during your entire, was it 29 years?
Yeah.
So in 29 years, would you say that 10% corruption, no corruption, they treated you fair the whole time? Like, what was your impression of this correction system?
Well, the correction officers here in New York State, both black and white, corrupt all the way, corrupt on so many levels. From
Speak your truth, brother. This is where we need to hear it.
From the abuse. They just killed Robert Brooks in a medium, right? You saw the video on Robert Brooks.
That was horrible.
Yeah, right. And that's every day, man. I was in Clinton down tomorrow where guys get their ass whipped like that 2-3 times a day. So I've been jumped on by the COs, but before I even got upstate, I was jumped on by the COs on Rikers Island, right? So they're really hands-on. They're really hands-on. It's a deep adversarial relationship, and corruption on so many levels. It's like they have the biggest gang, and it's always us against them, right? And that's the mentality that the officers come to work with. I know some officers that simply come to work, put on black gloves, and they're there to kick somebody's ass every single day.
Damn.
They're consistent assholes, a lot of them. Then you have one or two that say, "Look, man, I'm just here to do my job, man. Don't stab nobody. Don't let me see you doing nothing you ain't supposed to do, and we're gonna have an easy day." I tell you what, everybody that contacts me from prison, since the National Guards have been all across New York State as a result of Robert Brooks' death, all say the same thing. Man, the National Guards treat us way better than the correction officers. These are 19, 20-year-old kids. They don't treat us like the officers do. Everybody that called me from prison has said that over and over and over again. There's a campaign right now that's spearheaded by Derek Hamilton, called the EPV campaign, End Prison Violence campaign, which was developed as a result of Robert Brooks and Muhammad Natway, who was also killed in the prison across the street from Marcy. Now, I don't know if you know this, but the Muslim chaplain was alleged to have killed himself in that same prison last week.
I didn't.
In the same prison, Marcy, where Robert Brooks was killed, it's been in every newspaper. The imam, the Muslim chaplain, they claim came into the prison last Friday with a gun on him and pulled out his gun while he was in the superintendent's office and blew his own head off. Imam Abdullah Habian, they said just killed himself. He had 5 kids.
Wow.
So right now in some prisons, you may have 20 correction officers that work a night shift when it should be 180.
Holy shit.
Because they had the Wildcat strike. The governor fired 2,000 of them for striking illegally. Some in a prison called Collins, they lied. You can look that up too. They fabricated and said, well, the prisoners took over the prison. The commissioner found that the correction officers staged that whole hostage situation. And this was on the news. They staged the entire thing. They walked off the job. When Albany and the commissioner and them went in there, they said, we ain't had a correction officer in here all day, man. They just left us in here. We don't know how we're gonna eat. We don't know how we're gonna go to the mess hall to eat and go to program, get our medication, which has been one of the biggest consequences of the shutdown. Was the national didn't know how to operate the medical system. So guys that needed medication, whether it was diabetic medication or something else, um, and guys, some guys had diabetic attacks. Some guys died. Some guys committed suicide because the National Guards didn't do their rounds. So they were nicer to the men and women inside, but they don't know how to operate a prison because they've never been there.
Mm.
And the National Guards are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids.
Mm.
And they're inside of Sing Sing in different prisons right now as we speak. No one is taking the correction officer test. No one wants to be correction officers as a result of Robert Brooks exposing what's been going on for decades. Prison violence has been going on for decades.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
I
sounds like
got my ass kicked. I got my ass kicked several times in prison.
For
Right?
nothing?
It's very, very common.
Is it like how does it even start?
It starts when they pull you out the line and throw you on the wall. Then they don't see you. Then no one sees you in the prison again. And the officers write a complaint and say, well, he took his hands off the wall and we thought we had to use force. Use of force had to be implemented because he came off the wall. That's every misbehavior report where a guy has a black eye or a broken rib or an eye socket or he loses an eye. I know guys that have lost an entire eye. I tell you what, when you get a chance, you may have heard of it. View the Alabama Project, Alabama Solution. Have you heard about that?
I have not.
Alabama Solution is a documentary that's just coming out on HBO right now. I went to a screening, and I had no idea that Alabama may be the worst system in the country. Thousands of incarcerated people have been killed in there by officers. And one of the things that many people don't know is a lot of them have had their organs missing.
Oh shit.
Man. Yeah.
Holy fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're confirming what
So Alabama, if you look
my
up the Alabama
suspicions have
Solution,
been for a while,
which is very, very deep.
So okay.
Yeah.
So I want to get
what's made Alabama. What made the Alabama Solution so deep, and it's out now, so we can talk about it. Is it was filmed on cell phone by people inside, so they got all the in-depth stuff that was happening inside of Alabama prisons.
Okay.
So you get a chance, please view that.
Okay.
And you'll see probably the worst system in the country.
For sure. Okay. Yeah, we'll get into that. One of the things you're definitely confirming some suspicions that I've had for a while, because I find it very ironic that as big of a push for body cams that they had for police, and now most cops that I know, they feel naked without their body cam. You never see corrections officers raising their hands for that, wanting that. Never hear of any of them having that. There's very few cameras that ever seem to be available when you need it for inside the prison system. And to me, I'm not saying that you're being shady, but it just shows that you should be wanting to put that out there. And they're not doing that. And I want to give a shout out to Harrison.
Brooks,
He just gifted
I think they've
20 memberships.
I think they forgot their body cameras on when they killed and beat Robert Brooks to death.
Yes,
that's what got
they're
them
not
arrested.
used to having them.
They're not used to having them.
Yep.
And the officer,
I agree. And I think the only time they use them is when they have something special like that.
Mm-hmm.
When they have to go to the hospital and there's other people around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bruce, being that it's just such a mess, and what you're describing is so heartbreaking. I want to cry hearing that what you had to go through. What if you were able to be God for a minute? What would be your top solution? Where will we start?
That's a good question, right? That's a very, very good question. How do we reimagine a society where prisons are communities where people actually, where rehabilitation means something, right? Um, and I'll even go as far as reimagining a society where we don't have prisons, but we also have a adequate mental health system and a system that holds people accountable in more humane ways. Because the reality is this: close to 50% of the people incarcerated in the United States are living with dyslexia. So many of them have learning disabilities, which is a crime generative factor, right? The vast majority of people that commit crimes come from impoverished neighborhoods. Poverty is a crime generative factor. Poverty is a level of violence, right? When you don't know where your next meal is coming from, when you don't have food, shelter, or clothing. That's violent. That's psychological violence, right? Right now, across the country, maybe 40 to 50% of the prison population are living with mental health issues, right? So do people with mental health issues need prison or do they need treatment? I think that they need treatment. I think they need serious medical attention, right? To deal with their mental health. But also, I think therapy for incarcerated people is just as important. It's one thing that helped me when I walked out is being open and being receptive to having therapy, understanding that 29 years in prison in an abnormal environment um, can have a traumatic. It's a traumatic experience, and how do we get through that? Um, with some level of assistance is to get a good therapist and somebody to talk to.
Yeah. I can only imagine. It's I don't want to compare it to law enforcement, but law enforcement officers, they see a lot of traumas throughout their career.
Absolutely.
Now go into an environment where apparently, especially with your experience, you don't just have to watch your ass from some of the inmates that are in there. You got to watch your ass from the people who are supposed to be in there protecting you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not by accident that probably law enforcement, whether it's the police officers and the corrections, rates of suicide.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because of the level of stress.
Yeah. And
Right?
gee, in prison, they take just about everything away from you that can even let you commit suicide. So the rates would probably be higher from the traumas that they have to deal with in prison. Yeah. So
exactly.
Man. So now with your district attorney or your prosecutor being corrupt, your the corrections officers that you had to deal with being corrupt, I'm curious how you can still have such an optimistic mindset with giving your plate. And I'm not going to say that you're putting us out on a pedestal by any way, but you still, even you are still willing to admit, despite what's happened to you, that there's good cops. There seems to be some good corrections officers out there. Like, you're able to distinguish that. And I know people that have never even really had an encounter with police in their life, and they fucking hate cops. So it's insane.
I think that some people have had bad experiences with correction officers. My friend just told the guy, look, man, a correction officer is not a bad job. You just had a bad experience with corrections, right?
Yeah.
And for those who haven't had an experience with them, I think it's important for people to get involved because you can only make change by being on the inside. Like you can't sit back. It's easy to be an armchair revolutionary, right? You sit behind a chair, and you Monday morning quarterback everything. But when you in it, that's something totally different, right? A lot of these guys have never been in it. It ain't easy to do any of that stuff. It's not easy to wake up every morning and have to carry a pistol, not knowing whether your life is going to, not knowing whether your life is going to be.
This has been the best podcast we've ever had because of the all the changes in scenery. Is that Mom?
No, this is Pops. This is the old camera. Yes.
The light's blocking. I couldn't tell if it was a guy or a girl. Sorry about that.
Yeah. I'm not gonna let you go.
I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy.
How wonderful is this?
This is such great stuff. I love the love, brother.
Yes, this is.
We try to. Despite all the negativity around this career field, we try to show the good stuff.
Yes.
And Pops can take his time. You're being awfully quiet, Banning.
I'm taking this all in. I'm taking this all in, man. This is absolutely one of the most amazing, horrific stories at the same time I've ever heard.
I know. And you guys know me. I tend to hone in on optimism things, and his attitude towards everything so far is just like, I love it. I love
It's amazing.
I love where his heart is so far in all of this.
Leave that right there. I'll come back.
You guys wonder where my unrealistic optimism comes from. He's worse than me. Would you agree, Matt? He's worse than me.
Oh my gosh, this guy Bruce can he can inspire the masses, man, with this story. It's just so amazing.
I mean, I know this is pie in the sky, but I would love for Bruce to be able to sit in front of the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court gives him 20 minutes on what needs to be changed, not just in the New York justice system, but across the entire country. And for the Supreme Court to actually listen to it, look into it, and make said changes. That would be a start.
I think with his justice defense idea, that's one way to get started. Inmates and prison guards working together to help fight their cases and educate. Like, I never heard of such a thing. But it when you hear it, you're like, oh, duh. That makes sense. Why have we not done that? I hope nobody trips and falls because it looks dark. I can't see anything.
3-4 times, right?
Oh, man, this is crazy. Crazy stuff.
I would have found every crack and crevice and curb and been down for the kill.
Freeman Keys said, this is gold. I appreciate Bruce showing up tonight, even though he was obviously busy. And thank you guys for covering this. Bruce is one of many. Yeah. Yep. Mr. Billfold said,
I'm taking him up the stairs. I'm coming right now.
No worries, brother. You take your time. We're going to the comment section now. They're loving this.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. Bro, this is what it's all about. Family. Love. I love it. Mr. Billfold said, Bruce's attitude is because his freedom being stolen, not in spite of it. If I had corrupt cops and prosecution steal over half my life, I would treat any sunshine as a win. It's a self-preservation. Fair assessment. Yeah, but I'm curious. I mean, he seems like he's always kind of been an optimistic guy. You know, and Matt, I know you're around a lot of kids that are probably close to the position that he's been in when he first started. So, you know, doing your nonprofit, Bruce might be good to get involved.
Oh, he would definitely keep your attention.
You know what I mean? Yeah, because he went through it.
Yep.
Don't be the statistic like he had to end up being. You know, try to get through to some of these kids before it's too late. It only takes one. It only takes one corrupt prosecutor to really screw you over.
Yeah, geez, that pisses me off.
Yeah.
Excuse
me. Yeah, I feel bad. I want to know how many. Oh shit! My computer is going crazy. There it goes. Freeman goes, yes, but how is he optimistic? It amazes me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Who are you winking at? I see you winking over there. You better tell Mama to go to bed.
I got caught, babe.
Hi, Tennille.
They said hi. Hi. We'll come off camera.
She can come on camera?
No, I'm ready for bed.
Oh, that's okay. I've seen Matt before bed.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, we lost him. Oh, I think he. What happened?
He may have just hit his camera button. They may have just hit the camera button slightly.
Maybe. Yeah. There it
Yep.
goes. Oh, now we got him back. Get Matt's ugly mug off of there.
Oh yeah, my sweaty mug. There you go, box fan here.
Bruce probably saw you and he's like, "Oh, is this another inmate?"
Don't start. Don't start. We got company.
Oh, yeah. I think Bruce would dig you, Matt. I think he would love to come out, and I bet he. I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but I think he would. Let me put it this way: I think it'd be very beneficial if we could get Bruce to link up with your people for your nonprofit.
Oh, they would love it.
Yeah,
we would love it.
Yeah, well, when he gets done going up 1,000,000 steps or whatever he's doing, we'll discuss it with him. Oh shit! The police coming down the street. Run, Bruce! Not again. I, the Knight, said, that is a sign of a strong mind. It would be far easier to circle into hate. Whatever he uses as his motivation is likely what guides him, whether that be family, faith, or a desire things to improve. Yeah. And I think that's absolutely spot on. I think it's awesome. I love it because I have days where I get down and I'm not nearly as optimistic as I normally am. And somehow I'm usually able to pull myself out of a funk either with a nap, some food, or just forcing myself to realize I'm not in a good place and start thinking optimistically.
You know, Eric, I wish I could take half of Bruce's motivation for some of these law enforcement officers out there that may be at 7 or 10 years and they hit this brick wall of everything's wrong, everything this, everything is that. And you look at this man that has overcome that many years and the way he looks at life. I mean, not just law enforcement, but just people in general, of how he is absolutely looking at life now on what's been done to him and how he is serving others in life. And that's a big moral of this story is how look at what Bruce is doing now with his life after what he's gone through. Why can't others do the same? You know, he's gone. I mean, I can't imagine. And I know
how many,
the only one, and it's I can't imagine this.
I'm curious how many people he helped along the way while he was still in. Look at the people he's helping while he's out. Look at he was already involved in some other nonprofits of people helping out other prisoners and stuff going on. You know, in the Uganda, the Justice Defender thing, all of these things. The dude's been dedicated. It's a life of service. You know, what we hope other cops and the rest of us in the criminal justice system, reason why we got into it. We want to help people. You know, and he was there helping people when he needed help.
I just hope for the rest of his life he doesn't have to pay for a damn thing.
Yeah. Mr. Billfold, I'm petty and vindictive. I believe that. I believe that, sir. Somebody said, Marine's Blood said, want to encourage Eric and banning more? Donate here. Thanks, guys. Yeah, if you guys decide to do a little more than the likes, follows, and subscribes or share us, like, the buy me a coffee thing, it's a good way to help keep doing what we're doing. My wife just got on me today for all of the money coming out for what we have going on. She's like, you gotta turn off some of these subscriptions. She goes, why are you paying for YouTube Premium? She doesn't know why we're paying for Premium. I was like, it's not for me. It's not for me, guys. Bruce,
I think Bruce put his camera to his side so he could take care of business, and I appreciate and applaud that.
Yeah, whatever he's got to do. Yeah. I'm just making sure that he's actually still connected and we're just not watching darkness. But I think that would go away if he was not on there. But he said tax write-off. Love it.
I'm back, brothers.
Oh, Bruce is back, baby. Here we go.
I had to get the old timer upstairs, man.
Hey, man, you do your thing, brother. Bro, this has been one of the everybody in the comments said the same shit. One of the funnest, best podcasts we've done because it's been all over the place.
And I'm going to say something, Bruce. I look at life every day as positive as I can, and I wish I had half the heart you do. So kudos to you, man. I mean, this small amount of time that we've had with you makes me look at life so much better and all the good things that we have. And thank you for being a part of what we're doing. I love that our viewers are getting to hear your story. So thank you for taking the time for us.
Thank you so much, man. That means so much to me, just being able to be here and share with you guys, man. And I think that we we're an example. You said you had Derek on there as well, Derek Hamilton. But it's an example of how we can come together, man. We can sit down and have real conversations. And we may not agree on everything, but we know that there's, we can recognize that our humanity is attached and there's nothing we can do about that. We're connected, right? And we can be an example of what it means to be better and to do better and to get along and have real conversations, man.
Yeah. And the thing that I love is you are so much ammunition and credibility because you're not bitter and angry, because you're so optimistic, you're so level-headed about owning up. Like, no, there's still some good, but there's problems, and I faced them personally. And then you got us three on here who we're the opposite side, where we're saying, look, the other cops aren't going to say this, but we are. There's problems, and we need to own it. For one, that's the first step. Fucking own it. And we're owning it. We know there's a problem. That's why we wanted you on. It does me no good. I don't sit in a jail.
And I commend you guys.
I don't sit.
I commend you guys, man.
I appreciate it.
For wanting to make a difference. I really commend you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't sit in a prison. I can't go to prisons, and not as a cop. And it's one of those things. I need somebody's perspective that's not going to be biased. And it's going to be harder for me to get somebody that was convicted of an actual crime versus a guy that was innocent and then had to do, who got as wrong can be, to come out with that optimism, that self-improvement, and then the ability to say that, look, there's some good in here, guys, but no, there's a lot of bad too, and you need to do something about it. So having all those factors together, brother, like, that is how we start getting some change out there. So we're trying to do like what you're doing. We're trying to put the fight up, but from the other side. So our forces combined, our voices, I think, will be heard. That's the optimistic side. I'm the rose-colored glasses guy on the cop side. So
thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not a problem. I do have a question, and I'm going to ask it on behalf of Matt. Matt runs a nonprofit for troubled youth at that age that you were in the just in the Chicago area. I think if they heard you and your experience and all of that, Matt, you go. I think you should speak to his people. I'll put it that way. But Matt, you tell them what it's all about.
Oh, I mean, I run a couple of nonprofits. We just invite all the young fatherless gang members, disenchanted kids from my streets. Many of them I make an arrest on and say, hey, what do you do? I'm gonna release you, but what do you do on Fridays? Come and join my crew. So we take them. I take them. We don't turn anyone down. To come as you are, and we're going to form a brotherhood and try to love you. It's centered around basketball, but we mentor, we feed everybody. We teach them about the gospel. We teach them about life. We try to get them jobs. So it's really kind of do a lot for the youth in our city. And man, your voice would carry some weight. Oh my gosh, I can only picture you talking to some of my kids, because some of them are they're going down the wrong path, and we have a lot of victories, but we have a lot of defeats too. I'm always looking for anything to give motivation. So I was just thinking, like, man, they would be in awe of you.
Yeah. So you can't tell.
Let's figure it out. I would love to talk to them.
You can't tell it, Bruce, but despite Matt's appearance there, he has actually been convicted of a crime and still been able to be a cop. So
yes, I have. I have one on my record.
Yep. So Bruce, before you've been so kind to be on here as long as you have, and we really appreciate that. We want to help fix the system. We want to help get your story out there. I've been sharing your website and all that stuff. I actually have your website here. Let me share that too, so you can. If anybody wants to book you, I see that they can jump on your website here.
Absolutely.
So if you guys want to talk to Bruce, look at that. That's a gorgeous man right there.
Thank you, brother.
But and see more about his story. I like that. You got hoodies too. Humanize my hoodie.
Yes.
Fight for justice. I like that. Oh shit! Look, he got the open shirt. Got a little sex appeal going, ladies. Pay attention. But Bruce, before we let you go, like how do we close this to make the system better? How do we look at this with an open heart and an open mind to make it better for the police side and for those that may be going through the system?
I think one of the things that people should do is ask themselves what it is that they would want to see if they were on either side. How would they want to be treated, and how would they treat others? Let's start with that. Let's take a good look at ourselves, right? Because each of us have talents, we have gifts, and we can contribute in a meaningful way. And we all want a safe community. We all want to thrive in life. We want to be happy. We want health, right? And we want to live a decent life, right? We all really want the same things. We want to live in a neighborhood where there's no shootings, no killings. We want our children to go to school and be safe, right? And I think it starts with conversations like the ones that we're having now.
Yeah.
Right? It don't hurt for you to go and say, man, I want to have a real conversation. Yeah, I don't care if the guy's an officer or a lieutenant or a correction officer. Let's have some conversation. Let's talk. Let's talk about what it is that we have in common, as opposed to the things that we have that we think are different. Because we're really all one, man. And humanity starts with each of us recognizing that we're all a part of this big universe, man. This big family,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Amen to that.
100%, brother. Beautiful. I love it. All right, Bruce. I'm going to talk with these knuckleheads here as we wrap up. I'm going to let you go do your thing. Thank you so much. If you're in Texas or you're coming to Texas, let me know. I would love to connect with you.
You can. I don't know if you put up my social media, Bruce.Bryan24.
I did not, but I can, sir. Bruce.Bryan.24. Is that on Instagram?
Yeah, it's Bruce.Bryan24.
Oh, Bruce.Bryan24 on Instagram. I am putting that up right now, sir.
So I know some people like to reach out that way. And if I can share a word with your young people in your nonprofit, brother, we can figure it out. And I would love to, because that's what it is, about pouring into each other and sharing with each other, man.
Hell yeah.
Yep. Amen.
Awesome.
Sure.
Bruce, I'll get offline with you later and connect Matt with you, and we'll just do like a group text and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Get that
Thank
going.
you all so much, man. Thank you for having me. It was an honor. It was a pleasure. Thank you for your patience too. I appreciate you so much.
Bro, I love it. That made the whole episode. I loved it.
Phenomenal.
Thank you.
The honor is all ours, man. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
God bless you, brother.
Take it easy,
God
Bruce.
bless you all. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Fellas.
That was worth the wait. That was worth the wait.
Yes, it was. Yeah, he was awesome. That was great. I was like, I'm not gonna ask him back on, but he had some shit going on, obviously. So taking care of Pops, dude, that was greatness.
That was so cool. Absolutely
great. Audience, everybody in the crowd, thank you for being respectful to his time. It was very cool. Very cool. Had a good time. I think you're welcome, Matt, because I know you wouldn't have asked.
Thank you.
I was like, bro, you get him on the now. We gotta help out your
I'll let
boys.
you do the talking.
Yeah. Fucker. No, that's awesome. I'm glad we were able to do that too.
Man,
Shit, my computer's glitching up on me. Fucking mosquitoes, really?
Oh my gosh, I wish it was warm enough for that up here.
I know, it's like what is it right now? It is 76.
Oh, I hate your guts.
You don't have to live up there, brother.
I don't want
I
to.
think it reached what 90 today. Eric?
Close to, yeah, at least. Yeah, it was pretty damn close. Yeah. Yeah, people in the audience, somebody said it was worth it, you know. Please come back. Oh yeah, please come back with updates, Bruce. Definitely do that. Freeman Keys, I thoroughly enjoyed the discussion. And I'm sorry, guys. I know some of you guys were donating. I believe the last one was, I think it was Harrison. Let me go back if I can.
Harrison Frog donated 20.
Yeah, Harrison. Yeah, I wanted to give proper due to the people that were donating. I just, you know how it goes, guys. I don't want to interrupt a guest while they're talking. I'll stop what I'm saying to thank you guys, but I did try to get Harrison's in there real quick, but we were rock and rolling. So
we appreciate that so much. But when you have a guest like this on that's gone through, and I know everybody's got their own personal story, but man, what you guys just heard, and we just heard a tenth. You know, we heard a little bit of this. I mean, we could probably have this guy on every week for 2 years, and we maybe heard
stories.
12.
Yeah.
You know?
I wanted to give an abbreviated story so we could get to where it was corrupt at, where the problems were at, and all that stuff. And so that's what the correction stuff really didn't surprise me. But that's from the horse's mouth. I wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth. Like
to hear how dejected he was talking about that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're at your most vulnerable, and there's nobody to turn to. Nobody's going to listen to you. That's the problem with the once you're convicted of something, you're fucked. No one's listening. You're out of sight, out of mind. No one gives a shit, and that's why I think it's important. That's why for my show, for the balance of this show, I got to have those voices on here. I got to get, especially the ones that have been wronged improperly. You know, it's one thing if you know, like you talk to Aaron Dyson, one of the guys that I had on the show. He did wrong. He admits it. He's like, yeah, I shot a dude with a shotgun that killed my cousin. He's like, but the dude that I shot and injured, he got less time in prison than I got and he killed his cousin, which is insane. How does that guy get 10 years and you get 54 years? And then the guy that you shot ends up advocating for your release. Like, that's crazy. He did 24 years. Bruce did 29 years. Derek Hamilton did 26 years. So I will continue to have these guys on here because it's one thing to have Joe Rogan advocate for you, which is great. I love Joe. That's the reason I started a podcast, because of Joe Rogan. But it's another thing to have some dudes that do the job, that are on the side of handing out, getting that ball rolling for you to go to prison. They need to hear from us too. I think that's the important part. They got to hear from us. We've got to stand up. We've got to talk. We've got to see this stuff. We've got to help prevent people from getting sucked into the system improperly. So, now
how many Bruces are out there?
Yeah, how many Bruces are out there? If there's one, there's more.
Yep.
So, you know, and the latest that I've heard about improperly incarcerated people is somewhere in the window of 6 to 15%. I don't know how accurate that is. I can't tell you where I saw that study. It was probably a couple years back. I remember hearing about it though, and I was like, man, is that number right? 6 to 15%. I say if you're 1% or more, it's too high. Yeah.
80%.
Yeah. Now, if you're staying under 8%, okay, there are probably some crazy shit that happens that all the stars align and you just were in the wrong place, wrong time, holding the wrong gun. I don't know, but
my cousin Vinny's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's a lot of people in the audience that don't know what you're talking about.
I've seen that movie 10 times, man.
For Marissa.
No.
Yeah. Looking at the comments, Something the Elios to think about. Are you just feeding the meat grinder? Yeah. Yep. Marine Blood said from tonight. Thank you, Brandar86 for the 5 gifted subs and Harrison Brock for the 20. Yep, I agree. Thank you very much. Mr. Bill Fold said there are tens of thousands of Bruces out there. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible.
I don't want any Bruces out there.
Yeah, I don't want any. One's too many.
Mm-hmm.
One is too many. But what are the odds out of all of them? Let's say you line up 100 of them that went through Bruce's situation that have Bruce's attitude.
Yeah, that's a rare thing.
Yeah. Not only did he hit that's a question I should have asked him. When did he hit the ground running to self-improve? How quickly? Did it take a year? Did it take 3 years before that mindset triggered?
I bet it's just in him. I bet he started really quick.
Yeah, I get that same impression that he would have just hit the ground running, but I'm curious. I want to know. Was there, because like I said, like I'm a very optimistic guy, but damn, I kind of confided into some of the guys the other day. I'm like, I'm having a rough go at work. I'm sucking at my job. Not intentionally. It's a whole new thing for me, what I'm doing at work. A whole new thing. It's a specialized unit. I've never been in a supervisory position in a specialized unit that is expanding and doing things that have never been done in law enforcement. And I'm surrounded by a team of rock stars, a bunch of guys that they're seasoned and know what they're doing. And here's this new baby sergeant that's never done any of this stuff coming in and just screwing the pooch left and right. I just keep screwing up, don't know what to do, need my hand held for this, don't do something I probably should have been doing, just left and right. I've been having a bad go at work, and I'm trying to get out of that funk.
But hey, at least you're recognizing that, and you're willing to learn and willing to change. There's a lot of people that will stay in that funk, and I know you're going to go for perfection. And it looks like I'm freezing again, and I apologize, guys.
There you go. Yeah, you kind of unfroze there for a second. Jesus, can we get fiber out in the country, please? Starlink something. There you go. You unfroze, Benny. Yeah. So for me, like even me, like I went through a little funk where I was just like, damn, I keep screwing up left and right. And the last few days, small little wins. And you guys know me. I hold on to the small little wins.
Them, baby.
I'm like, oh, I did something good. I got a compliment, or I did this. And they were like, thank you. And I was like, that's what I need to be doing. I need to keep doing that shit. So yeah, Wade Lucero. Eric is suffering from ID fix not being on the streets. I gotta get it. I need some of them IDs, Joe Rogan. Oh shit, Wade. Wade with the save.
Let's not forget our friggin' sponsors out here, guys.
Oh yeah. Ghost Patch. Make sure you go to Ghost Patch Customs, guys. That is our what are those called? Flex shields. Yes, those are the flex shields. Make sure you check them out. Make sure if you guys are trying to improve your police and you want them to do better and you want their systems to work better and you can't afford to pay more cops, go to peregrine.io. I guarantee at peregrine.io, they will help your police department save money. And if they can't put more new police in the system, they can at least use technology to help supplement. So check them out. Also, make sure you check out. I'm missing one. Who am I missing? Ghost Patch, Peregrine,
Shirts,
Retro Rifle. Retro. Yeah, I'm wearing it. Yeah, my shirts. I knew I was missing one. Retro-Rifle. Make sure you check them out because it's all Hawaiian shirts and pop culture with guns hidden in them. So we are Pro 2A. We're Pro 1A. Shit.
Pro people. Sound like I'm from Canada.
Yeah. Shut up, Banning.
I got the 2-minute warning, fellas.
Got the 2-minute warning. Okay, so we're gonna end it. Yeah, we're right there anyway. So, everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. Matt, make sure everybody checks out your nonprofit, My Father's Business.
Yep, mfbyouth.org.
At mfbyouth.org.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. And then for Banning, you guys just look at Banning and say hello. Check him out on LinkedIn. And for us,
LinkedIn King.
Yep, you can find us on 2 Cops, 1 Donut just about anywhere. that you can think of. So check us out, everybody, tonight. Thank you very much, Wade Lucero. I see you. Peace, brother. Mr. Bill Fold, Eyes of the State.